Hi, my name is Vanessa Conlin, Master of Wine, and today as part of the Sunset Magazine Wine Club, I'm going to be tasting the 2018 vintage of Three Wine Company Old Vine Field Blend from Contra Costa County. So Contra Costa County is sort of northeast of San Francisco, and it was originally planted in the 1800s by Portuguese and Italian immigrants. But unfortunately, many of those vineyards have since been pulled up. But one winemaker who will not allow that to happen is Matt Klein. So Matt Klein and his wife Erin own Three Wine Company, and they have fought to keep these heritage sites intact. Now this is a field blend, as I mentioned, so it's a number of different varieties in this bottle, but primarily Carignan, Zinfandel, Mataro, and Petit Syrah. And what's interesting about this field blend is it's planted in very, very sandy soils. And because these vines are very old, they're about 100 years old, they don't look anything like what you might see if, let's say, you were driving up a St. Helena highway and seeing these perfectly manicured rows of vineyards. It almost looks like each vine is sort of its own little unique piece of architecture. And they're not trellised, so they're not on those wires that will keep the foliage sort of tidy and neat. They're sort of wild and all over the place, and they're own rooted, meaning they were never replanted. And it's a field blend. So often when we talk about wines that are blends of different varieties, those different varieties are harvested separately and then blended after fermentation to the taste of the winemaker. But it's not this case with the Three Wine. These are sort of random assortments of different types of varieties throughout the vineyard. And when it was originally planted, well, it was before we knew a lot about wine and technology that we have now. So a lot of times people just frankly didn't even know what they were planting. But what it means is that you get what you get that year. There's no changing it after fermentation because it all ferments together. So let's taste this. So if you're tasting with me, it's kind of a ruby color. And I swirl it around like this to really allow the aromas to express themselves to you in the glass. I get lots of berry fruit on this, kind of raspberry, cherry, blackberry, blueberry. There's a little bit of savoriness as well, almost like a little bit of olive tapenade in the glass. And kind of something smoky, almost like embers. Now, if you're tasting with me, try to let the wine touch every corner of your palate. So instead of just taking a sip, really swish it around and then see what you're experiencing, not just what you're tasting, but also what it feels like. So what I feel is that there's definitely sort of a juicy texture. It's kind of rich and bold and round, but there's still a freshness. And by freshness, I mean there's a nice sort of bright acidity. Acidity is that mouth-watering feeling that you get when you taste wine, which is why wine is such a great pairing with food. So I'd say that tannins are that drying sensation that happens when you drink red wine. They're just kind of medium. They're definitely present, but they're kind of soft and pliable. And overall, I'd say I'm tasting a lot of what I smelled from the glass, and it's all coming together really beautifully. I think this is the type of wine that's very food friendly. You could pair this with burgers, with pizza, with pasta, like cacio e pepe would be delicious. But it's really very versatile. And if you wanted to go rich, think of like truffle grilled cheese. I think that would be absolutely fantastic together. Cheers.